Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia. With me it's Louie, and on today's video we are going to make a Christmas wreath using a square wreath form and this gorgeous sign. I got this one at Craft Outlet. Without further ado, let's get started on our beautiful square poof corner method wreath. Let's go over the supplies for this wreath, starting off with a 21-inch roll of Deco mesh that is 10 yards in length, a pack of mesh tubing 12 yards in length, some beautiful Christmas ribbon that's 1.5 inches in width, 10 yards in length, and also wired. The other ribbon that I'm going to be using is this beautiful white wired ribbon. It's 1.5 inches, and in length it's actually 50 yards. I get these at Costco once a year around Christmas when they have them. I know you've been eyeing that sign, and yes, it says Merry Christmas, and the gold is very particular. I did want to add some gold to my ribbon, but this one has almost like this light green shade to it, so it was really hard to match some sort of a gold to it. That is why I ended up using the mesh tubing, because it's something that kind of glitters and it works without clashing too much with this wording. You're going to need pipe cleaners. For the wreath base, we're going to be using this Metal Wreath form. It has 8 sections and it is 14 inches by 14 inches. Let's attach the pipe cleaners, and we're going to do the corners first. If I'm starting right here, fold it in half and do a twist. A pipe cleaner in a corner like this, it's just not going to stay. So we're going to stabilize it. What we're going to do is we're going to make a little V. One side, I'm going to just go underneath and twist just like that underneath, and I twisted it. This one is going on the other side. Same thing, I'm going to twist it just underneath. You can go from top or you can go from the bottom. It doesn't matter. Now we're going to unite these in the center, just like this, 2 twists. And I'm going to fold this over this way. Now that we've done that, this is not going to go anywhere. Look at this, I'm literally pulling. This, of course, is stable. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to use that stability to our advantage. Inside this little triangle, I'm putting another pipe cleaner, 2 twists, and this is going to go towards our inside. So we're going to be attaching our Deco mesh on row 1 and row 2. I'm done with my corners. Now let's work on this inside row. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put it around row 1 and 2 for stability, but I am going to tie it on the inside row, on row 1. 2 twists, and I'm going to go all the way around in all 4 sides. The inside row is done. I think it's time to remove our tag, and we are going to do the outside row, and this one is going to be the easiest. So all the intersections is where we're going to put our pipe cleaners. That's it, just like that. On the intersection, 2 twists, and we're going to face out. All my pipe cleaners are on, 8 on the inside, 12 on the outside. On the inside, we went in all the centers plus the corners. On the outside, once again, we did all the corners plus every intersection. Not that bad. I know it's a lot of pipe cleaners, but we are going to have a gorgeous full wreath. So let's get started on the Deco mesh. Before we attach our Deco mesh, let's chat about how we're going to attach it. We're going to go in a spiral just like any poof wreath. I am going to start on one of the center ones just because I think the transition is going to be a little easier where we begin and end. So I'm going to start in one of the centers, and I'm going to go all the way around in that inner row, 10-inch loops until I come back to where I started. Here I'm going to go nice and flat to the outside row. Here I'm going to connect my Deco mesh, and once again I'm going to be making 10-inch loops going all the way around, but this time on the outside row until I come back to where I began that row. Cut off the Deco mesh and attach. We are going to be using zip ties for the beginning, middle, and end. First things first, let's gather the Deco mesh about 2-3 inches in. And because it's such a long piece of deco mesh, I do like to go around and make sure that I'm at least 2 inches in from the shortest little wave. And I know this wasn't straight, but that's okay. I'm going to cut off anything that's excess a little bit later. So let's attach it to that middle pipe cleaner. And I'm going to do a nice big twist. For the tail, that's where I'm bringing in my zip tie. And I'm going to zip tie it about 1 inch from my pipe cleaner connection. Look how beautiful and smooth that is. I'm going to cut off the zip tie tail. And with my scissors, I'm going to cut the excess, and look at that. Nice and clean. Next, I'm just measuring my 10 inches. When making my poofs, I like to go a bit taut on the actual deco mesh. That way I know that all of my poofs are going to be nice and even, and I just think it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful wreath. So I'm going to go around that center row and attach the deco mesh. Making my last poof and putting it right over where I started. I'm going to press it down so it's not too bulky. Give it 2 or even 3 twists. I want to make sure that's nice and safe. Now that our inner row is done, we are going to work our way out to the outer row, and this is the part where we're going to go nice and flat to the closest pipe cleaner on the outer row. 2 twists. Coming in with a zip tie. I'm going to put the zip tie on that flat part between the inner row and the outer row. This is definitely an extra step, and you do not have to do this, but it's a habit of mine, and it feels like it's secure. I know that this is not going to wiggle. This is not going to go anywhere. Now we're going to continue with the fun 10-inch loops all the way around. Remember how we made that corner that was just kind of like, really, we couldn't just twist it, but look at that. It's beautiful, and we have that corner pipe cleaner. Going to the next one, and we're going to go all the way around with our 10-inch loops. Making my last poof, cutting off a tail about 3 inches, putting the tail right over the top, but we are going to push it down in just a second. So let me do a little bit of twisting, and I'm going to push the tail between row 1 and 2. Let me flip this. Right here on row 2, I'm going to grab a zip tie and zip it in place about 1 inch from our pipe cleaner connection. Just like this. The tail is a little bit on the longer side, but it's so clean. I would just put it back in there, and it's just going to add a little bit of a filler. So no big deal. Look at that, nice and clean. Cut off the excess from the zip tie. And now we're going to start opening all the poofs up. Grab it in one hand, grab the side with your other hand, and pull it through. I'm kind of holding with my fingers here and just pulling it through until I get to the other side. And now we have nice poof. This corner that is not covered is going to be covered by the ribbon, so don't worry about that part. This is what your wreath base should look like when you're done, and I do have a little bit of a square action going on, so I'm going to put this to the side and let's do the ribbon. Starting with our white ribbon, I'm going to be measuring it at 11 inches. So zigzag it all the way up. To get our dovetails, I'm just folding the sides in half, cutting off a triangle, and there you go. I'm going to do the same thing with our Christmas ribbon, measuring our 11 inches, and off I go zigzagging. I'm going to cut my ribbon the same way, fold the ends in half, and cut off a little triangle, and there we go. Now for the mesh tube, same thing. I'm going to be measuring off 11 inches and just start folding it. I have 20 pieces each of the ribbon and the mesh tubing. Now let's make our ribbon bundles and attach to the wreath. We're going to make this simple, one of each ribbon and one piece of the mesh tubing. Bring it together in the center and start attaching to all the pipe cleaners. After you've attached, go ahead and twist the pipe cleaner about 1 inch from the connection. Cut off the excess, fold in half, and fold back. That's it, my friends. Ribbon 1, ribbon 2, our mesh tubing. Bring it together and attach it. And I'm going to be attaching to all the pipe cleaners. All my ribbon bundles are on, but I'm not going to open them up until I attach the sign. So I'm going to put my wreath this way in a diamond shape, and my Merry Christmas is going to go right in the center. I'm going to be attaching this in 2 places on the back. Let's just flip, take my 2 pipe cleaners, make a little flat end, coming in with some hot glue, pipe cleaner right on there, and then hot glue going from side to side. I'm using a piece of leftover felt. You can use fabric, you can even use leftover ribbon pieces. Now we're ready to attach our sign to the wreath. I'm just working it in. Let's flip, and I'm going to attach to the first row on the corner. To attach on the corner, we're going to do the same thing like we did on the other one. So we're just going to flip underneath on one side, do a little flip on the other side, and twist together. I actually like the way that looks. I decided to get rid of these guys. They really stand out. And I feel like the sign is secure enough in place. It should be just fine. The last thing that's left is to start opening our ribbon bundles, and I love doing this. We're going to open up, make little flowers. As you're opening your flower, make sure you do every other. So I have print solid, and just open these guys up. Definitely look for your mesh tubing because that's going to give that element of the gold. We want that to show. Go all the way around, opening up all of these guys. How beautiful. This wreath is all done, and I'm loving the colors. The pop of green really shows up nicely. We do have lots of sparkle on the sign, and of course the mesh tubing helps to bring everything together. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more wreath tutorials, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell button so you are notified every time a wreath comes out. Thank you for being here, and we will see you in our next video. Bye, friends. Louis, say bye, everyone. Mwah! Such a good pup. Bye, guys.